This is where physiology is really important in understanding how your body works. It's no surprise that if you eat way too much sugar, you get fat. So that's another way people always talk about they want to lose weight. Well, in addition to exercise, cutting back on simple sugars is really important. It doesn't mean you can't eat more complex carbohydrates. That's fine. But simple sugars jack your blood sugar up quick. So let's do a little whiteboard drawing for a sec. Got a nice example here for you. Okay, let's draw a graph. So let's say this is your blood sugar level as the day progresses. That is your blood sugar level, and then this is time. There is going to be kind of a sweet spot, let's call it. Let's say, do it in blue. So let's say this is kind of where you want your blood sugar to be. But throughout the day, it's going to obviously change. It's okay for your blood sugar to change throughout the day. I'm just saying there's sort of an average that your body is going to want. Let's say you're sleeping. Okay, so maybe your blood sugar is kind of low while you're sleeping. And then you wake up in the morning and you have part of a complete breakfast. Have you ever seen those commercials for cereal? And they'll say, part of a complete breakfast. And they'll show cereal, orange juice, milk, toast. Right? That's what they always show, part of a complete breakfast. But what is wrong with that? There's something wrong with that. Part of a complete breakfast that they show there. It's pretty much just sugar, right? You've taken the fiber out of it, so it's a lot of sugar. I'm not saying don't ever drink it. I'm just saying it's better to eat an orange because then you've got the fiber. But if you drink orange juice, it's a lot of sugar, right? Then what about toast? Toast is also a lot of sugar. Especially if it's refined, right? If you have enriched white bread, you're just basically shoving sugar cubes down your throat. If it's a whole wheat bread and there's a lot of fiber and stuff, that's better. But let's say you like to have white bread and you like to have jam on top, right? Even more sugar. Just basically you're having sugar for breakfast. And then cereal is also very sugary. Most cereals are very sugary if you look at the ingredients. So you're having a sugar breakfast. So how's your blood sugar level at breakfast? Boom. Super high spike, right? So then, over time it's going to come back down because you get the signal, hey, we need some insulin right here. And the insulin is going to help us get that sugar into the cell. The level will fall. Now, what happens when it falls? What happens to your behavior? Yeah, tired, hungry. Anyway, you get hungry there. Lethargic, fatigue, hangry. That's right. Cranky, tired. So now, what do you crave all of a sudden? What do you want? You want a cookie. You want more sugar. You want a cookie, a muffin, so then, boom, spike it back up again. And then that's going to fall quick again. And then maybe you drink some Coke, spike it up again. It's going to fall really quick. So this repeated jacking of your blood sugar is what is going to eventually lead to the development of type 2 diabetes, right? Now, let's compare this to, I'll give you an example of a breakfast that I eat a lot of the time. If I'm not fasting, I will have fat yogurt, fattest yogurt I can find, let's say 7%. So when I buy that yogurt, I want to see that there's only maybe 2 or 3 ingredients. There should be like milk solids, cream, and active bacterial culture. That's all I want. Then I will throw some berries in it, and then not a lot, just a few berries for flavor. I might throw some nuts in there too, walnuts or something, just a little bit. You don't need a lot. And then I will put some natural peanut butter. So the ingredients for the peanut butter should be peanuts, nothing else. And I'll mix that all together. Sometimes I'll put like spirulina or some kind of greens powder in it as well. So then I eat that, and let me show you what the blood sugar response would be on that. You can probably take a pretty good guess. So there's my breakfast. Does that make sense? That it's going to slowly raise your blood sugar level over a longer amount of time. Why is it slowly raising my blood sugar over a long period of time? Fat takes longer to digest, and so does protein. So that meal I just told you is very high fat and high protein. There is sugar in there. You know, there's the berries, there's the lactose, which is sugar from yogurt, but you break it down slower. And I don't drink orange juice or anything. I'll just have water or black coffee. And what I noticed, actually, the reason I bring this up is it wasn't until maybe like 7 years ago when I started teaching that I realized what I was doing wrong. I used to be the one that would eat cereal. I like Vector cereal. And, you know, I drink orange juice with my cereal. Maybe I'd have some toast with peanut butter and jam. And what I failed to realize is that 1 hour after I ate that, I'd be so hungry. I'm like, why am I so hungry? And then I would always just equate it to, oh, it's because I have fast metabolism. That's why I'm hungry all the time, because I'm active, I ride my bike. And so I always just use that as my answer. Well, that's why I'm hungry every hour. But what I failed to realize is that I wasn't getting enough fat and I wasn't getting enough protein and I was getting too much sugar. So once I switched over to this higher fat, higher protein, and low sugar breakfast, I was not hungry an hour later. I was not hungry 2 hours later, not even 3 hours. So I could eat this breakfast at 7 a.m. and not feel any hunger at all until around 12 or 1 p.m. And this was a game changer for me. I couldn't believe the difference. So it showed me that if you change the way you eat, you know, it can have positive effects. This also made it so that it was easier to work too, because I could get more work done, or I could treat more patients and not have to break because I have to go eat a muffin or a cookie or something. So it really kind of opened the world up to me, to the idea that you don't have to eat every hour. Okay, look at it this way. Modern humans have been around for like 200,000 years, roughly, maybe 500,000 years. Do you think that for most of our history, we were eating every hour? I don't think so. I think that there were periods of time where we didn't eat for days, right? The food was scarce. It was hard to find food. You didn't have vending machines every 10 feet from you. You didn't have drive-through restaurants. So finding food was really challenging. And sugar was also not a common thing. The sugar that you ate was, if you were lucky enough to find fruit, then you had sugar. And if you're eating vegetables, there's sugar in that, but it's not like simple sugars, it's complex. So all this refined sugar is kind of new to our genome. And that's why I think we're seeing such epidemics of obesity and type 2 diabetes. We need to look at the way our body was evolved, and we should eat that way. Because remember what I said, your genome does not change quickly. Our genome is pretty much the same as it was 100,000 years ago. But look at how our diet has changed in that time. It's changed so much in the past 100 years, right? If you are like I used to be, and you're constantly hungry every hour, then I suggest try a little higher fat. Get over the fact that eating fat doesn't necessarily make you fat. Okay, we were told that for a long time, that if you eat fat, you're going to get fat. Don't overdo it, obviously, but if you just eat some good fats, you should find that you're satiated for longer periods of time. And then if you think about it, if you're not hungry for 5 hours, and then you look at how much food you've eaten in one day, it's probably going to be less calories in one day, right? Just based on the frequency of you eating. So for me, I eat 3 meals a day, but I try not to have any snacking in between. And the other idea is you shouldn't really be eating right before you go to bed. That goes to the whole, it's a good idea to fast. So if you want just a really easy guideline to follow, every night try and have 12 hours of fasting. So if the last thing you ate was at 7 p.m., then don't eat anything until 7 a.m. That's pretty easy, right? So that can be your starting point. Just go with the 12-hour fast. Once that becomes easy, you might want to extend it a little. So maybe you do a 14-hour and you say, once I eat at 5 p.m., I'm not going to eat anything else until 7 a.m. when I wake up. So I think it's not that hard to follow, right? As long as you can eliminate the nighttime snacking. All right, so hopefully this is a benefit to you and you can play around with your own eating habits and see how it goes.